YouTube, it's Brian Phelps. We got the 1.4 meter FMS F4U Corsair. Beautiful landing gear, beautiful scale details all around. We're gonna cycle the gear before we even take off. While you watch that gorgeous action, check out the beautiful flaps. Love this system, absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna fly ours today on 4S 3200, right before your very eyes. And if you guys like the way this flies, you can check it out from the link in the video description below. Full disclosure, we did not have a Predator ESC with thrust reverse, but that's okay. And we also didn't get ours with the reflex, so ours is using a 631. All right, takeoff flaps deployed. This thing gets on its mains really nicely. Here we go. Beautiful. We got some beautiful clouds to demonstrate this beautiful plane right now. Look at those landing lights come in clear.
Wow.
Now, if you guys have ever seen our videos about the 1.7 meter, that thing is sluggish and yet absolutely gorgeous. Take off flaps now. We'll do an inside pass here. Slowing it down just a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful. Hard on the throttle, about 60% there. Man, that thing looks absolutely fantastic out of the flaps, hard on the throttle. We get up here, do a stall turn right with the clouds behind us. Absolutely gorgeous. Screaming by. Decent roll rate there. That's about 50% on the sticks. So guys, if you haven't ever experienced the F4U Corsair, look at that thing bloom with the takeoff flaps, now the landing flaps. Goodness gracious. One warning, if you fly this plane light on a 2700 4S, which is how we started our first batch of flights, you're gonna realize, don't do it with the drop tanks, because the drop tanks made this thing fly crappy. It was crazy. A little bit of turbulent air over the trees. We're gonna do a super high speed pass. You good? There it is, guys. Oh, so sweet. Take off flaps now on the way back downhill. Pull out of the, and right over the damn gift shop. For what it's worth, folks, what a beauty. Now let's slow it down the way I like flying. Throw those gear. Watch this with that cloud in the backdrop. Oh yes, so gorgeous. Going for a carrier landing, obviously. Gear going back up. Super slow action, looks fantastic. AS3X and safe equipped on this one, the way we set it up. And so it's feeling pretty solid. We actually went to 2X gains, which is unusual for us. And you can still get a nice, really crispy roll if you want it that way. Or you can coordinate them in. You guys may notice I took out my UPS stick. I guess I'm being more trusting these days.
Uh-oh.
I know. That's what I thought too. Take off flaps now. Slowing it down just a little bit. Just absolutely love the way this thing goes. Okay, we'll see if we can get a touch and go, if I can get it lined up right. I'm gonna go up and over. Gear out, they're very slow, be prepared. Finding the hole. Right there, there it is. You guys see the shadow, guys? There we go. This is touch and go. On the mains, out of flaps, out of the gear. There it is, folks, beautiful. Absolutely flying the line of our property. And the gear door's still closing. That's how slow this thing is. The gear sequencer is right there when you pass the wings through. Build went super fantastic. You're gonna pull it out of the box and think, oh my goodness, we have another, what was the thing we just did the other day?
Sky Cruiser.
The Sky Cruiser, and you're like, oh, this is so many pieces. And then you start building it and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
It actually went together super easy. You have to put every control horn on.
Time remaining, 1 minute.
1 minute on 5. You can get a lot more than 5, by the way. On a 3200, that was a, you get about like probably 8.5, 9 on 2700, but just left it at 5. I have a sweat bee that's trying to harvest something from my nose.
There's just like a swarm of them apparently.
Should I take him out?
That would be great.
I know I keep doing the stall turns, but it just looks so dang good with the clouds. Landing flaps here. We're gonna take a nice tight turn. Watch those gear coming out now. Gear up, take off flaps now. 2-second deployment speed is plenty good on the flaps. I think we did a slower deployment speed on the bigger one. That thing was just a very different flying creation. Very doggy. They ended up sending us a different prop. Didn't fix the problem with dogginess on the big one. But this one here seemed to be doing very good. Now, that being said, out of the box, 1.2 meter E-flite. 0 complaints, plus thrust reverse. Good LEDs. Good ESC. And the thing is, all I'm gonna say is this one's got more presence because it's bigger. But it's definitely gonna be harder on batteries, meaning it uses 4S just like the smaller one. But this one calls out at 2,600. Okay, so let's see if we can take a landing here. Okay, gear coming out. Call it early when you fly this thing. Do not ask for your gear late. You will not get them in time, okay, folks? Get right over the cherry, different path. There we go. Beautiful. 3-wheel landing. And then we'll show you what this thing looks like coming to a stop. Absolutely gorgeous ground handling. But just remember, there is a transition from landing to takeoff. Now, I should have plenty of time to do some grass ops, so we'll do 1 sorties. It's gonna be short, but I just mowed the grass for this very reason. Okay, here we go. So guys, if you wanna see if it'll do grass ops, full stop, full up elevator, no flaps, take off flaps. Will come out maybe. Nope, hard on the elevator. Now take off flaps, gear going up. That was about 30% on the throttle, 40% just to kick it out of the grass. Man, that looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Dang, we're lucky. God gave us a beautiful sky for this flight. Gear coming out. We're gonna try for a landing here right before your eyes slip. There it is. Woo-wee! And I broke the tail. But guys, all I've got to say is I broke it last night too. So I don't know if it actually broke this time. We might have got lucky. When you flip it, it flips. And that's one thing I know. I've run into this before with other F4U Corsairs and other planes that we try to do for grass ops. It's an easy fix. But you can see I didn't reinforce this one. So I can probably just stick it back down and I think we'll be good. In fact, we're so good, I'm gonna prove it to you. We're gonna just take back off. We'll do it from the pavement this time. If you guys get this plane, you're gonna be very happy with it. But I gotta say, even with really well manicured grass right after a cutting, she does like to catch and flip. That was not a bad landing.
Even with our grass short over there, it's still
pretty
bumpy.
rough.
Yeah. So
if you guys are flying from a grass field, I guarantee it's better than that.
Yeah.
But watch how good this gets on mains. Gear. Wanted to avoid the cherry. Bring it around. So I don't know if you guys could tell, I just broke my rudder. Now we're flying again. Take off flaps. Absolutely gorgeous. Folks, if you haven't ever experienced an F4U Corsair, you might want to consider this one from FMS. It's a very good plane. It's not without fault, obviously. It's a little bit more squirrely if you try to fly it with the proposed CG, which is 95 to 105. If you try to get that thing perfect at that, what you're gonna find is the thing is actually very, I would argue, tail heavy. So, especially if you have drop tanks involved. Drop tanks blow everything up. Yeah, I like that other line, but we're gonna try this line now. Very light on throttle, tractoring prop. There we go. There it is, guys. There it is. Don't you dare! Are you kidding me? Guys, even that. See, that's what I'm talking about. So if you plan on doing grass ops, you just gotta be super careful. I'm gonna lay this down again. And See how it's bent?
Yeah.
I can just straighten it because I put sticks in there.
Yeah.
So I told you I was going to prove it to you. And
We're gonna keep proving it.
I'm relentless because this tail thing, I just want you guys to understand. I fixed mine with toothpicks and some China glue. So here we go.
I don't want to overheat here.
Okay. There we go. Gear up out of the flaps. Okay.
Are you gonna land right away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, full landing flaps now. We're just gonna relax into it, guys. So the moral of the story is beautiful plane. Watch yourself, watch yourself. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
So do it again.
So I guess the moral of the story is if you're trying to prove a point on YouTube, sometimes it doesn't work. The other thing is, I gotta say, if you're gonna fly this thing and it's gonna flip, that's one complaint I have about this plane, is that every single time it flips, it's gonna wanna break this tail. And it's not the first or last time that's ever happened. So I guess if there was anything I could say is if you know for sure you're gonna be flying from grass and there's a high probability of flipping, maybe take a bamboo skewer and hit it from here and just run it down at an angle and then hit this with a bamboo skewer. And it's gonna help to strengthen that vertical support. Now, thoughts about this plane as we go ahead and taxi, because this thing, oh look, and I called this too, first thing to break.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I would break it before the first flight, and that's really indifferent to me. But the truth is, man, this plane is something else. It flies really good. It looks really good doing it. And the thing is, it goes together pretty good. So if you guys want to help support Brian Phillips RC and all we do, look no further than buying a plane from the links when you decide to buy one, and you'll help support us financially. But then also, if you don't want to do that, smash the like button, click the bell, get notified when we do new content, which is all the time here on Brian Phillips RC. If you want to find something that's similar to this, but not this, because you want to see what the big one or the smaller one looks like, and we've done a bunch of smaller ones,
Done.
then you can go to brianphillipsrc.com and you can check out by type, which this would be a warbird, or by affiliate, sponsor, partner, whatever you want to call that, people that we work with in this case. So we've got it sorted by FMS, then we got it sorted by different manufacturers that we work with, or by warbird. So you'll be able to find exactly what you want, or maybe you don't even want an F4U Corsair, but you want something that's similar sized. You can check that out right now. We have thousands of videos that will wet your whistle and help you make a good decision. Because at the end of the day, we're here to help you guys figure out if this is gonna be what they say it's gonna be. And I can tell you this, it's really good, but if you're planning on grass ops, and I said the same thing about the 1.2, you might wanna rethink that because it likes to tip over very easy. Not an indictment of the plane, might be slightly an indictment of our grass type, but if you guys are on a field and you've got ultra small grass, you might be okay, like grass from a green on a golf course. If you have a geotextile fabric, you'll be fine. If you're on asphalt, you'll be fine. If you're on concrete, you'll be fine. But if you're doing grass ops, you're gonna have to really probably stick to you're gonna have to go to the inside hole on the elevator and set crazy amounts of expo. We did 20% expo in our middle setting. That's the setting we fly for, instead of 10 like usual. And so we did just a couple of different adjustments. So other than that, we're at 2X on the gains and we're right here, which means at 1X, it would have been all the way up, okay? So really happy with the way this plane turned out. It definitely does favor the bigger batteries. And by the way the batteries load in here, you have to stick them in at an angle, and then the canopy can make it difficult to fit. So all things considered, great plane. Help us when you do buy it from the links. If you don't want to do that, we also have PayPal for one-time donations, YouTube Super Thanks, YouTube members, which is monthly, and then Patreon for monthly as well. Any of those supports are greatly appreciated. We appreciate you guys if you're members already. But at the end of the day, we still think the best deal is just buy the plane, buy the radio system, buy the battery, whatever it is that we're using in a particular video that makes you feel like it's a good bargain or it's going to meet your needs. That's what we would suggest you do. That being said, we love this hobby and we want to see it expand and grow. And so we want to give you guys good advice that's actionable, that's not just going to be, hey, buy this or buy that or whatever. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. This is probably not going to be a great one for a brand new beginner pilot, but I got to say, The P factor is very manageable on this plane. I don't know how, okay? Some of the F4U Corsairs want to flip themselves over. Some of the other Warbirds, you know, the P factor is palpable. This one just didn't bother me. It just gets on the mains and does what it does.
Yeah.
Also, if you're doing touch and goes, keeping the power, just let it relax on the runway, okay? You have to fly it to the runway. Do not stall it to the runway. Do not bring that tail down. You'll ground loop it. Because as you go from that transition from airspeed, live rudder, to not, there's a gap. So you need to be ready for that. That's not uncommon on Warbirds, by the way, so get that tail down as quick as you can if you know you're landing. Hold back on the elevator, and you're still gonna have some squirrely behavior, and you might as well plan on it. It's not a tracking issue, guys. It just isn't, not on this plane. It's got to do with getting that thing down, getting enough weight to make it effective. All right, that's all we got for you. FMS, good job, 1.4 meter, F4U Corsair. Absolutely gorgeous, flown on 3200, 4S, 50-seat pack. I think you guys should get one if you like the F4U Corsair. If you've already got the 1.7 and you have the 1.2, that would be one of the only times where I wouldn't seriously consider this, because it is very similar, but slightly less good than the 1.2 because of the lack of thrust reverse, but it's more detailed and a little bit bigger, so that's a trade-off. But if you're going from the 1.7 down to the 1.4 and you've also got the 1.2, I feel like you're missing the value equation. I would not do that if I was you. Much like I would tell somebody, if you have the 2 meter Carbon Z T28 and you have the 1.2, I also wouldn't get that 1.4. But if you don't have the 1.2, the 1.4 is a lot easier to transport than the Carbon Z, okay?
Yeah.
So for the buyers that are serious about the F4U Corsair, this is a great plane. If you got the 1.2, If you got the 1.7,
But if you want the biggest one you can get, the 1.7 is huge.
It's
if
huge.
That's not in your
It
space
takes up
requirement.
Huge amounts of room, like a
Huge.
dining room size
Yes.
room, okay? So just keep that in mind if you decide to go that route. This thing is much more manageable, it's much more affordable, and it's cheaper to battery because you're not flying on 6S, okay? And it's got plenty of power, but I would recommend a higher seat pack. We did find on the 2700 it was a little bit more doggy because that's a 30-seat pack, this is a 50-seat pack, and it is hard on the pack if you fly it like I did, okay?
Right.
Beautiful plane, good job, FMS. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave your questions and comments down below. We'll do our best to get to them. And if you guys want to see the full unbox build radio setup, we'll have that published right away, so you can check it out right now. Thanks for watching.